Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Nasty Sanchez and welcome back to some Need for Speed Most Wanted. We're back again. Now unfortunately, I'm so disappointed in this video. I ended up having to during the recording I had to unplug my capture card. For some odd reason, plugged it back in, forgot that stops the capturing. And like it wasn't even like the power part or it was just an unnecessary cable that I had, and it reset the capture card, and I ended up not being able to record any part of the Kaz battle. But I did somewhat not really make up for it though, hopefully. I do show you a lot of stuff that I did do, stuff that I did correctly, stuff that I thought I did good, and I mean, I'm just going to be showing you a lot of mostly this Mustang that I got from the last battle, boss battle, quote. I mean, like I said, it's a really nice car. It's a real heavy car, center of gravity. It's real heavy. Now with that real heaviness, it has that great amount of top speed, but it has that really slow acceleration. Now keep it on a highway, just swerving back and forth. I mean, you'll be golden. You'll be hitting 180, 190, no issues. But it's whenever you have to come up to that point where you have those real tight corners in the city, which I'm going to show you two races, which I really do. I mean, honestly, I think the two races were more interesting than the boss battle because it was more or less just trial and error with some those boss battles. And here you see I ended up going with a yellow paint job. I was thinking Camaro whenever I did this. I put flames on it for some reason. I just thought it looked good with the yellow. I got the carbon fiber hood, and that body kit I just love how the way it just adds figure to it. Yeah, I mean, I just was mainly going for the yellow Camaro look, but more or less I'm just kind of, I mean, this is now one of my main racing cars, except like if it's like a highway time trial, yeah, I'm going with this car. If it's in the city boss battle, drag race, yeah, I'm definitely going with the Cayman. But I mean, here I'm just showing you a little bit of it. Like I said, I'm really sorry I didn't get to record that boss battle code for the Mercedes-Benz 500. But you know, we ended up winning it. I customized it a little bit. I might end up selling it later on, but there's really nothing I can really do about it. I mean, if you really want me to, I can go back and redo it, but I would lose a lot of stuff and a lot of progress that I've already gone back through. Like I said, this race that I'm doing now, I think this one, and there's another one with a C6 Corvette that I'm racing against, and these are probably two very, very difficult races. Here you're seeing him going against that Camaro GT, which is the best car in the game. Overly praised is what I think it is, but I mean, they're putting, this is the part where they put these super fast endgame cars in your races, and no, they're not endgame cars yet, like endgame CPUs, but they're still very fast cars, and if you're not careful, they can really mess you up. But going through this race right now, I think I did a very clean job with all my turns. I did end up getting NOS hungry towards the end and ran out, but like I said, it's more or less just me going through the race, and I guess this is kind of my apology towards you guys, but I mean, like I said, I'm still new with this, I'm still learning a lot, and this was just one bump that I learned from. But I just really enjoyed watching this race again, that and the C6 race. This one, especially on the last lap, during the second lap, it does get a little bit boring, but on that last lap, I just hit all the turns right, I drift all at a nice pace, and the C6 almost beats me. He was only a little bit behind me, and he made the turn better, and I ended up drifting out wide, and we were probably 0.5, 0.15 seconds away from each other at that point. And this goes back to what I said a couple episodes ago. It really counts whenever you say, it says you're 0.08 faster than someone on your time. That's astounding. That just, like, you're like, okay, that's great. I just need to keep that up, and maybe I'll get 0.15 and then 0.30, and It's all about how you perceive the game. That's how I see it. I think if I can just get little chunk by little chunk of time up, not there, that was actually really rude. I ended up running him into the side and ended up paying for it by running into that taxi. And then they all passed me. But in this race, you have actually the two fastest cars. You have the McLaren and the Camaro GT. Now the McLaren, on my other profile, I did win that car. It's a really fast car, really high acceleration, but the Camaro does trump it. But I mean, you have two of the fastest cars going head to head against here, and we end up knocking out the whatever this extra car is. They came. I don't really remember what it was, but we ended up knocking that out first. Then we ended up knocking out the McLaren, that green car that I just ran into, and then we ended up hitting the racing the Camaro for the last. But I mean, the hype was just right here during this race. I was getting really intense. My palms were getting sweaty. I mean, just this track, I think, is a very good example track for just having a car with low acceleration. I mean, you see how I have these. It shows the strengths and weaknesses. You see how I have these real straightaways, like right here, where this is actually a really cool ending. And then when I was going in between those other two, it just all made it happen. Now here, this was the cool part about the race. You end up going into the jump, and then you just see that. And then, that's just what I just thought that was really cool. I just want to share that with you guys. Now here, this is a time trial. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but I'm just gonna call it a time trial. Like I said, going through this part, this really shows you the actual speed of it. I don't do as well as I would hope, but I do finish within the time limit at least. I'm not sure the exact couple seconds that I have left to finish it, but I do get down to the wire at a couple of them. I hit like 7 or 6, which I'm not used to. Most of the time I have a high enough acceleration where if I do crash, I can end up making that back up. But I mean, like I said, low acceleration, high top speed, just. Now in cop chases, this car is a beast. I did get into a huge one that ended up getting me all of the milestones, except for the speed traps, which I got with this car anyhow. But ramming barricades, this thing, like I said, it's a real heavy car, has very low center of gravity. So whenever you hit that car, your front end comes up, but that cop car does 3 or 4 barrel rolls, and it's literally, I wouldn't call it. Trying to figure out something I compare it to. It would probably be this would be a very big running back that just plows through the line every time. He's that one guy that you know, hey, if we give him the ball, he's definitely gonna make through it. So that's literally what I use him for. Whenever I'm just running through the whenever there was actually a barricade challenge that I used him for. I tried it with my Porsche. It ended up not working. I got to 8, and then I ended up getting caught with that before I could get the time challenge. It was just a lot of stuff like that, but this car just all around rounded out all the edges. I couldn't perfect with the GT Porsche, and I ended up getting a lot of extra bounty for this next coming up boss battle, which you won't see, of course, because I'm a giant screw up. So now here we are. I mean, I just think I love this turn right here. I do it real cleanly in the next race, not that one. But I mean, I just love this open track here. But I hate whenever they shove you off to the side right about here in some of the tracks. But I mean, all around, I could say that I don't memorize the entire layout of this game, but I do know a lot about it. I have been playing it for a while, and it more or less just gets glued into your mind. Probably not like if you lay a map out and tell me what it is, I'm not going to recognize it, but I mean, just driving, my recent memory just pops up, blur, 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 and I just love how they have some of the curves in this game. Like whenever you go around turns, the highways, they have those hills incorporated in it, so you have gain of speed, loss of speed. Now another thing is, one thing I don't like is how they put the, roughly estimated, they upped the speedometer 40 miles an hour. once you hit about 80, it goes up by 40. Once you hit anywhere else, it's up by like 20 or 30. That's just my rough estimate by looking at it. Just for the fact that, like, you're not going to be going 180 down a highway like that. If you're going 180, you're going way faster than what that looks, trust me. So, I mean, maybe not 180, maybe 140. That's pushing it. And I mean, going around turns like that, you're definitely going to flip your car, and then your center of gravity is just going to shift over, and you're going to be doing barrel rolls. But, I mean, going 140, you're still probably going to have a huge shift, but, I mean, it's plausible, at least then. Now this is, if I believe, this is the race that I was talking about with that C6 Corvette. And I mean, the first lap, I mean, pretty textbook for the most part, other than I ran into that. I end up running into another wall and having to panic and hit the speed breaker. But I mean, there you see in my rearview mirror, you see that C6 popping up behind me. That C6 does a real clean job the whole way through it. And I mean, the CPU, it was an exciting race, because a lot of these races I just go through and, excuse me, a lot of these races I just go through the motions. You know, it gets a little bit boring at times. I mean, this and that other race was a real exciting race for me. I just you know, it was one of those races where think of the ending to Cars, how he sticks his tongue out and wins it. It was more or less that. Or the beginning to Cars, I guess that would be. But I mean, it's more or less me and the C6 just going back and forth. I take first, he takes first, I take first, he takes first. And if you watch at the very end of this race, I'll probably say something about that too. It's more or less just, he comes up and look at the time, and it's literally right there. Now this turn, you see I usually do cleanly, I barely scraped it, coming up through here. And those two middle toll booths, notice how they're gone the next time, because the person who takes last ended up running through them. I kind of find that amusing. Their voltage, but he literally took them out for me, and that's kind of a really big help, because in this lap or the next one I end up losing control and having to swerve through that giant space. Kind of helps me out. But I mean, this Mustang all around, I appreciate it. I did upgrade I really need to upgrade the acceleration a lot more, but I did give it better suspension and tires, which, I mean, it has amazing handling already, but I mean, those are the only things that I have unlocked for it that actually did better. Ended up giving it a bigger NOS tank, and I just like it. Here again, you see me and the Corvette just neck and neck, fighting back and forth for that #1 spot. And I mean, I just, like I said, this lap isn't the most exciting lap, but going back through that last lap, that's literally a neck and neck race the whole way through. Now another thing is, we follow the same pattern. I follow the same pattern, so he follows the same pattern, and there I end up cutting him off. But more or less, I'm thinking it's in the game's coding. They have certain directions to go for certain, like, positions of each of the cars. So that's what I'm thinking. Whenever you do, like, follow the same pattern, it's more or less more predictable, I guess. I guess that's how you would say it. But yeah. So I guess that's a helpful tip. I don't really know. It's kind of hard to go into the same exact lanes each time during the race. More like this one, you more or less have to for some of the parts, but I mean, most of it's just, a lot of the game's just really free driving. I love how they incorporated a lot of that into this new Need for Speed and into the newer Need for Speed games. But I mean, I just think this was a real clean run up through here. Now this is where it starts to get exciting. You see the C6 starts to creep up on me again after I take a wreck into the park. And you can see him back there. He's just inching up faster and faster because that dumb catch-up mode. And there he takes the lead, and he gets really far ahead on me up there. And I mean, I literally get saved by here, and I end up messing up again for the fact that I crash into him. But I mean, here I end up trying to take a shortcut. He ends up catching up. I mean, any shortcut you can really take helps you, but it ends up not really mattering anyhow because he's right there. Again, I take my same lane, he takes his same lane. Yeah, but I mean, all I really did, I thought this was a real textbook race. I just really want to show you that. Again, I'm sorry for losing file, but I mean, that's basically all I can say about that. So, I mean, I am Nasty Sanchez. This is me signing off, and I will see you in the next one.